Hey, thank you. So, oh, see, we have to be louder than they are. Okay, that's the only thing. Oh no. So, uh, is this so? What's? Oh, uh, um, it's okay. It's my presentation. It's my presentation. It's a prank. I got you. Not that kind. It's not that kind of feedback. So I am talking about elevating feedback. So I want to show. Oh, wait! It's going to go again. I'll stop it. It's not real. Don't get upset. So please watch this. Hopefully, it's not too loud. It's going to be too loud. Eric, can you turn down the volume on the projector? Sorry, I know. I've already exhausted my goodwill with Eric already. Let's see.
Try it again.
That's good. Yeah, that's okay. Not good. Assholes. Oh, you evil, evil man.
It's not being recorded at all.
Okay, welcome to my mind. This is how I decided to start my presentation. What's the difference between a rocket and a hammer? Go. One's going up, the other's going down.
Manually operated.
What? Sorry, what?
Manually operated.
One's manually operated, one's not. Anything else? There's got to be a lot, yes? Size. Sound.
One is on fire. Size.
One's on fire, one is not. Size.
It's long.
Sorry? What'd you say? Sorry?
It's hard.
You can hammer, but you can't hold it.
You can hold a hammer, but you can't hold a rocket. Yeah, good. Very good.
Assuming the rocket is big, I'm just saying.
Oh, assuming that the rocket is big. Size again. Oh my goodness. Someone has some size issues. Huh? It's not me. So there are lots of comparisons we could make, but the comparison that I'm going to talk about is value. Okay? So, and value, just the worth or usefulness of something. So a rocket, more valuable than a hammer? Yeah? In what ways? Why is a rocket more valuable than a hammer?
Satellites, basically.
Put satellites up in space so we can watch YouTube. Yes. Adam?
You can stop a rocket and buy about 1,000.
You could scrap a rocket and buy about 1,000 hammers. Yes.
I have a rocket.
You have a hammer, but you don't have a rocket. All right. So I would say one thing is, the price of a rocket is quite much more than the price of a hammer, right? And then also, like if you misuse a hammer, you could get a little bit of pain out of it, right? But and this is going to be a little bit serious, but if you misuse a rocket, do you guys remember?
I'm just saying,
Right? Do people remember when this happened?
I wasn't alive.
You weren't alive yet. You lucky, lucky man. 5th grade. I'm not going to show it all the way because I watched this when I was in elementary school, right? In elementary school, because there was a teacher, right? Krista McAuliffe, I think, right?
Yeah.
There was a teacher that was up on this first flight. I think it was 1986, I believe. And I remember in America, it was such a big thing because the teacher was going up. And so we stopped lessons. We were so excited, and the TV was on and everyone in the school was watching. And then all of a sudden, teachers didn't know what to do, right? So obviously a rocket is, I would say, more valued than a hammer, okay? By price, by human value, human cost, thank you. So I would say the more valuable something is, the more systems you need to have in place to protect that value. Would everyone agree? Okay. So for example, like here's a photo of the mission control. Look how many people and how many machines are needed, right, in order to make sure that this is a successful mission and to protect the lives of the people and to protect the money invested in the rocket. This is another picture of a more modern mission control. Or a hammer. There's not even an instruction manual, right? There's nothing. You don't need anything to know. You kind of, by trial and error, you're going to figure out how to use a hammer for the most part. I did go down a little bit of a rabbit hole on YouTube and found out there are YouTube videos on how to use hammers. And there are techniques, but generally speaking, it's pretty easy to figure out how to use a hammer. If you make a mistake, you might hurt your finger, but you're not going to do too much damage. So let's go to something that's a little bit more practical, your car. All right, think about your car. What kind of systems are in place in your car to make sure that you're safe and that the money that you've invested in your car is prolonged, I guess would be said. There's 65 signals in a car. You guys know these? One of our, yeah, me either. One of our teachers had, which one was it? It was number 21. Anyone know what 21 is? Yeah, air tire, of course Eric knows. Air tire pressure, right. Yeah, so, and actually there's color coded too. Yellow is something that you don't have to take care of right away, but red you should take care of immediately, right? So I learned that, this is what I learned researching for this presentation. So to make that shift, how valuable is your work? How valuable is the work that you do? Okay. And what could harm your work? What kind of things could cause damage to the work that you do? Anyone want to? Reputation? What kind of things? But what kind of things could happen in your classroom or in your school? Yes, Melanie. Lack of communication, miscommunication. Okay. Anything else? I would say would you say it's important? Is it valuable enough? Is your job as a teacher or your job as a school owner, is it important enough to have systems in place to ensure that it's protected? Yes? Okay. So you don't have to answer. This is a rhetorical question, but what strategies do you have in place? And what kind of things would there be? So I'll show you. I am not going to say that I'm an expert on this. These are just things that we do at our school, and we've tried, and I've noticed a difference. But the more systems we put into place, the better things seem to get. So I'm going to share with you what we do. It's actually, this is going to be a little bit raw and a little bit hard because I'm going to show you some things that I'm not very proud of or not very comfortable showing you. But I think this is the kind of attitude you have to have if you're going to do these kind of things with feedback. So, and again, what we do, our schools are, what our job is we're not a tool and we're not a machine, okay? So it's different, but I like to use that analogy. Maybe you can keep that in the back of your mind. So here's the strategies we have, and there's 3 areas: with teachers and staff, with students, and then with parents. So I'm going to start with teachers and staff. No, I'm going to start with a drink because I always get really dry when I do these stuff. So we have 2. We have term evaluations and we have an end of year meeting. And these are for teacher evaluations, okay? And they happen, we have a 43-week calendar. So they happen on weeks 15, 29, and 43, which is we have 3 terms to our school calendar. It takes the form of a Google form. We send out a Google form to the teachers, and they send it back to us, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then we follow that up with a meeting. And we do this 3 times a year. It's a self-evaluation. So the teacher is evaluating themselves, and then I'm also evaluating them, and then we sit down together and we look at both Google Forms, and then we have a conversation. So here is the form. So it says, please evaluate how you feel you've performed this past term. Management will also be filling out I don't like saying management, by the way, but it is what it is. We'll also be filling out an identical form. Both forms will be reviewed at the performance evaluation meeting. Please use the follow-up section to elaborate on your performance and to give context to your evaluation. And the first one is interaction with students before and after class. And I formed relationships with students and parents outside of lesson time. And then there's a place to follow up. 2, classroom management. I was able to get through the lesson plans, keep students on track, form a good group environment, and move students through the material in accordance with their abilities. And I2I's expectations. I2I is our school name. 3, time management and preparation. I've shown up on time and I've been prepared for my lessons, both logistically and mentally. 4, thoughtfulness to coworkers. I kept the classroom tidy as well, and as I think there's a typo there, as well as looked out for and helped my coworkers when needed. Energy level. I came to work energetic and fully ready to teach my lessons. So there's just 5. That's all it is. And the follow-up is not required. So they can do it really quickly if they want, or if they have something they want to write more on, they can. Okay. So part 2 is the management evaluation. And we just added this last year. I don't know why it took us so long to figure this out, but it's really, really great that we've added it, basically because they like us. We're doing a good job, and it's really been very positive. So please evaluate how you feel management has performed this past term. This will also be used in the performance evaluation meeting. Please use the follow-up section to elaborate on your performance and to give context to your evaluation. So number 1, support. Management has given you the support and resources needed to perform your duties effectively. And follow up. Number 2, work environment. I feel positively about the work environment. 3, there's a clear channel for communication between myself and management. Work-life balance. Management promotes a healthy work-life balance for employees. And 5, improvement. What could we implement to make the work experience better for all? And I think that's it. So that's the term evaluations. I think it's good. It's a self-evaluation. We also they evaluate us as well. They can have a chance to have comments on the paper, but they also can do face-to-face meetings. What do you think? What's that?
360.
360. What do you mean by that? Oh, it's both are interacting. Yeah. I think what's really important with this is that just like if you think about, go back into the analogy of a car, the sensors, what's important. The questions are as important as the answers, right? Because you're identifying what you value in your company. And that's the most important part of this for me. More so than, of course, what they say is good, but what we're identifying that is important to us is what is really important. So anyone want to comment more on these? It's also very easy to do. It's just they can do it in 2 minutes. Yes.
That's great. Would you share those?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share them.
Have you had trouble keeping up with doing it? You do it 3 times a year.
3 times a year.
Have you ever been late on?
Yes.
How much do you have?
7.
So that's a lot of face-to-face meetings to keep up on. Like,
It is. Yes, it is. But I think it's really important, especially the more busy I get. Some of the teachers I don't see very often. So having at least 3 times a year we can sit down, and we sit down for. They're here right behind. The teachers are right there, so you can get their opinion too. It's usually 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what they want. But But I would say it's just like maintenance that you're doing those things because you do those things, problems don't come up.
We tried to do it 4 times or something against it. But
Yeah.
you miss one. Because do you have any tips for like keeping on track with that?
Well, one of the things about keeping on track with it is it's at the end of right before summer break. But actually, that's not. It kind of can be a negative too, because that's the really busy time too. You're trying to wrap everything up. No, it's just something that you have to have commit to. And we do the second term. We have one other question that's in there, which we ask the teachers whether they want to renew for the next year or upcoming year, and we also say whether we're planning to renew their contract as well. So that way we both have a long runway. It's at the end of November. If they don't want to, or they're saying maybe, then maybe we start doing the search process. And if they say yes and we say yes, then we know we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, it's just like changing the oil in the car. I really think that analogy holds up. No, it's you have to maintain what's valuable to you. So so again, the questions equal what's valued. I think that's really important. Part of it. So moving on to the end of year meeting. The end of year meeting, we look at everything. We identify weaknesses, and it's also a team building exercise. So I started this 2 years ago, and I'll show you how I introduced this. Hopefully it's not going to be too loud. This is what I did. Goodbye, 2023, 2024. And okay, this is going to be a little bit of an American reference, and someone who's in their 50s is not going to get this, but there was a TV show when I was growing up as a kid, and it happens that the name of the show is also the name of my dog, which my staff and teachers know, so I put this in there as kind of just a joke, but I left it in there for you. Does anybody know this show? Does anybody remember this show? I'd be so surprised if you do. Yes, Quincy. What a weird premise for a TV show. Because you know what he did? Now it's not that, actually CSI is all this now, right? But wait till the end. The end is what gets me the most. Oh, it's so 1970s. You could never do this today. Oh, it's a young woman. He's not looking at a body. It's a young woman. So 70s, right? So anyway, what we do is we do an autopsy. We do an autopsy. We do an autopsy of the year. We break it down, and this is the first time that I said, so these are my notes, how I wanted to introduce it 2 years ago. So our goal today is to pick apart what we do, to take everything apart, look it over carefully, inspect it, talk about it, and identify what works, what doesn't work, and what could work better. Then we'll use a critical thinking exercise to brainstorm solutions. I'll skip over it. Remember, an important part of our goal today is to do some team building. So we'll try to attack this exercise with some fun. And then here's more notes. So we are going to look at it from all different angles. We take it by months. We go through the year by month. We go by classes. We go by students. And we have 2 branches, so we go by facility. And then we break into teachers and staff, and we talk shit about each other. What do we like? What do we not like about each other? What we did, we make the groups, make a list of challenges that your group experienced in the year. And we're looking for 15 challenges. So we don't really want to hear the good stuff that much. We want to know what's not working. And you have to try to come up with 15 of them. I'm really interested, if anybody knows this reference. When I was in high school, I was a member of this group called Future Problem Solvers. And does anyone know what this is? Has anyone ever heard of this? It was probably one of the most important experiences of my high school years. It was this idea, and I won't go into it in great detail, but it's just this process of problem solving. So you identify the challenges, you select an underlying problem, you produce solution ideas, and then you select criteria from which to evaluate them, and then you apply those criteria to your solutions, and then you develop an action plan. So it's a little bit like Azaha. It was really useful, and I still think about this today. And I haven't been in high school for a very long time. So here are the challenges. So we broke it down like this, and we made 2 teams, and we kept rotating the teams. So it wasn't just the same teams every time. As we went through by month, we had a different team, and then we just shifted and shifted. And we played Connect 4. So that's how we gamified it. So whenever you came up with a challenge, you got to go put in a checker into the Connect 4 game until someone won. It's funny, we did that the first year, and the second year we didn't have to do it. Everybody knew what was going on, and everybody wanted to do it. But this was kind of how we sold it. Now, this is the part I don't really want to share because it's really embarrassing. But this is what they wrote. So some of these things is only in-house stuff you wouldn't really know, but there's no monthly plan for staff or what to do. There's not enough we have a group called Explorers, which our teachers help out with, and they felt like they weren't being utilized. The lesson plans are not reliable. Ouch. Materials, sometimes we didn't have enough, sometimes they weren't where they're supposed to be. There's got to be an easier way to get what we need. Like a confession, it really hurts. Let's see. But this was really important. The kids come too early. Probably people have this problem, right? Kids come too early to their school, or they stay too late. So we talked about that. Teachers sometimes can't understand what students are saying in Japanese. Our preschool lesson plans are too repetitive. Junior high is a tricky and difficult age. What should we do? Oh, we had parents in the class. We changed that. Parents don't go in the class anymore for our preschool classes, but we were a little bit more. We used to let that happen. I'll just keep going through these. Even things, screens. Screens are not like iPad or tablet screens. These are the Amidol, the screens in the class. Too many spider webs. We're not cleaning the spider webs in the classroom well enough. I mean, the light bulbs are constantly burning out and not being replaced. The office is messy. Storage space is not convenient. There's no place for the teachers and the staff to put their bags or coats. It's a lot, right? There's a lot of stuff in here. But what happened by doing this is everyone became really invested in what we're doing. And they really felt like they were being listened to. And we went back the next following year and followed up again. Did we actually fix some of these things? So that is the end of the year meeting for teachers and staff. I don't know, you guys may know this, the famous American philosopher, G.I. Joe. And he always said, knowing is half the battle. And so for us, if we don't know what the problem is, we can't fix it. And so having these things in place really helped us know that. Sorry, it's really American-centric. I really apologize for that. But what are you going to do? So moving on to students. So we have, that's a very American thing to say, isn't it? Yes. Suck it. I'm going to be me. This is being recorded, yeah. My back's toward the camera. They don't. It's okay. So we have student form, level checks, and homework. That's what we do for students. The student form, this is something that students do every lesson. It's in the back of our book, and it outlines our expectations. I'll show you this. So this is where they write their, every lesson, they have to fill this out at the end of class. It's also self-evaluation. And we have like highlighter markers that they fill out. We're going to change that next year, by the way. because those things are getting destroyed all the time. Kids destroy them. And these are the 6 things that we will have for expectations for the kids. They have to be on time. They have to be happy, listen, be a good friend, try to speak English, and do your homework. Now, it's really important that how we use this, because being on time, they don't always have control over that, right? It's oftentimes a parent. But again, it's by highlighting this, we're showing that it's important to be on time. It doesn't mean we are really, really liberal with this. We almost always give them their stamp for this, but it allows us to have a conversation, right? At the end of class, hey, you're 5 minutes late. It'd be better if you could, I shouldn't give you a stamp, but I will. But next week, can you be on time? Or with the homework, they don't do the homework. I'm not going to give you a stamp this week, but if you come back next week and you did last week's and this week's, then I'll give you it retroactively. So if you are, we always talk about like, do not be really super strict with this or they'll buy out of it and they won't care. We have a cafe at our school. Well, actually, our branch, this was an issue. We don't have a cafe in our branch. So we give out Coolish, but we have ice cream and homemade cookies. And basically, if they fill this card up, it takes like 1 month. So once a month, they get a cookie or an ice cream. So, and the, I want to show you that the interesting thing, this is out of order, but these are some of our high school kids. They don't cash in their cards. They keep them. So it's not really something that it is, this intrinsic or extrinsic argument. There's one to be, I think it really doesn't apply because it's not such a big reward that they're getting. So again, expectations equal what's valued. So we're highlighting what's important. We only do, okay, next we're going to move on to level checks. This is also at the end of every term. So the same weeks 15, 29, 43, and it's elementary school only. We don't do this for preschool, junior high, or high school classes. This is our school calendar. And in orange, you can see that they're highlighted. We send out a message to the parents, hey, the level check's coming up. And this is what a level check looks like for first, second, and third graders. Basically, we go through each unit. Up here at the top, this is their self-evaluation. How do they feel they can do in the different units or sections of the unit of the book? So this is a conversation, this is vocabulary, and this is phonics. And they evaluate themselves. And then in class, we test them on that. Or test is a really loose term. We have them go over it. This is what it looks like for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. We have this page, which they look at, and then this is how we fill this out, and we copy this and mail it out to the parents, along with this letter, and this letter explains that this is a level check, and it's not just saying what they know, also it's letting us know, are we teaching to above their level or not? It lets us identify if there is a kid that's not doing well, then we give them a need. This, you can't see it here, but this is 1 star, is needs help. And then the teacher has to give some advice what they need to be doing. Do they need to be doing more homework? They need more support at home. And then we work out a strategy to help them. So in this case, the parents get feedback how the kids are doing, which is really important. Students get feedback because they know how well they're doing or not. And teachers also get feedback. Oh, my kids don't know this material. They don't actually know it. So again, expectations equal what's valued. Now, we started doing level checks a long time ago, and now we kind of do this every lesson. So this is our in-house textbook, and at the bottom, you can see that there is this table at the bottom, and they're supposed to practice. There's a video that they're supposed to watch or practice, and they write how many times did they practice it, and then how did they feel about it. And then every lesson, there's also another page where we evaluate them every lesson. We fill it in how we think they're doing. So this seems like a bit much, but actually having done this, we have no issues anymore in the class. Yes.
You know, I have the same question to the teachers.
Okay. Yes. Yes. What do you think about it? No, you can. Of course.
It's a lot of forms and papers.
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
to fill out. And having done similar things at our school,
Yeah.
there's always some teachers that are really good at getting it all done, and then me, terrible.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I always forget. Oh, I do that. I didn't fill out
What do you think?
the form. A lot of stuff. A lot of admin.
At first, it was difficult, but after a month or 2 months, we got used to it. And at first, they didn't care about it, but after like 3 months, they were like, "Oh, I have to do this faster." So I mean, in week one, it's usually week one, so it's the first part. The first week, and we will practice the vocabulary.
My question is, for you guys, it's been a lot of
For us,
a lot of like admin. But, oh, I can't do it.
actually, we do this minute lesson. So,
10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. No, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Prayers.
What do you think?
It's not a lot. Like, when you get used to it and if you're very good at time management, it's very easy.
Yeah. I think it is. It's just a process that once it gets established, and I think we're not real strict with how the teachers do it. Like some teachers might go by each section and go through, or they might just wait till the end of the class and go, yep. And some, yeah. So it's just, again, my main point is you having these things established shows what's important to you and that they should be doing it. All right. I had a graphic. Oh, I forgot to use this. Yes.
Standardized like, feedbacks for like the form section for the students, right?
Yes.
So everybody, it's not like every teacher is different. Right? I think like
No, I think every teacher is different. I think there's no way. It's very subjective.
oh,
It's very subjective. But we really talk about how you shouldn't be very strict about this. And this is not. It's not like grading. I think that's how much I give my students almost full every time. I mean, it's really rare. And only if I think it will motivate them to do more, do I give them a lower one. Even if I think they're not the level that I really want them to be. If it's going to demotivate them, then I would rather give them full points than have them disappointed. So it's really, I think sometimes it's like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Like you think these things they can be bad, they can be negative, so you don't do them at all, but it's how you use them that's really important, I think. Last is parents. For parents, we send out newsletters, we have social media, and we have one-on-one conversations. So for newsletters, it's about events or level check information or campaigns. Often it's about when a new teacher comes in. That's you, Besma, yes. We just tell them that the new teacher is coming and give some information about it. So when they see the new face in the class, they know about him. So more and more, we're moving away from the newsletter and just going to social media more and more. We do social media. It's the same thing, pretty much, campaigns and things. I'll show you. This is 1 year. It's going to go fast, but this is all of our line postings. Don't look too close. You'll get sick.
that will help.
To everyone, yeah. We do send out other stuff to other, more focused groups, although that's going to get more expensive, I've learned, right? Yeah, so that's how much, oh, Happy New Year. So we're almost in. And then we're doing a trip to Australia. So, and then this is our Instagram feed. Well, this is the easiest way to show just basically how much do we use it. This is the whole time we've ever used it. I mean, we don't have that much on Instagram, honestly. And what I've heard from other conferences, you don't need to have that much, actually. So, and we used to have this form about for new students to get the new next year's schedule, and we had this one spot here where they could make a comment, but we don't do that anymore. That was 2022. They have no opportunity to give us feedback directly like that. And so I think one point I want to make is that because we have all these other things that students are getting a lot of feedback, parents are getting a lot of feedback how their students doing, they trust us and we don't give them an opportunity to tell us how to do our job and we don't get any questions about it. So how am I doing time-wise? Does anybody know?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Where's what we get?
Good. I'm getting close. So again, just to go back, how valuable is your work, and how many strategies do you have in place? These are what we have in place. I'd like to hear what kind of thing do you do? Similar things? Is this overkill in your eyes? Yes.
I think it's good, like before I started thinking, I was getting short. Parents tell us how to do it, get feedback.
Yeah.
Like I think, hey, I could do it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Opening yourself up to parents' feedback sometimes it's not always helpful either.
That's why we don't really I mean they'll if a parent wants to give you feedback, they're going to get in contact with you one way or the other. So you don't have to invite it.
Yeah.
One thing that was up there is one-on-one, and we have great staff in place that has conversations all the time with students. So, and we have a cafe at our main branch. So parents are coming in all the time. We have a great relationship with them.
So a lot of the feedback might not be constructive.
Yeah, it might not be constructive. Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
And you highlighted that it's subjective. One teacher might evaluate someone differently, and the next student who's in that teacher's class, their evaluation might be different. They actually might lower score.
Yeah.
That could be a certain also
I think that's fair. Yeah.
They're just genuine teacher student. They praise them or differently. Deserve to be praised. I think that's more beautiful than checking something on.
Yeah. I think having that system in place allows us it shows the importance to the teachers that they need to be covering those things. We give the teachers a lot of freedom. One of the feedback that we got from teachers on the evaluations was that one of the things they really like about working with us is they have a lot of freedom to teach. We used to have a really, really strict, lesson plan, and you do that. And I found that a lot of the teachers were checking out and not really being completely involved. So we say, well, you've got to cover this, and here you have a lot of tools to do that, but it's up to you how you want to get them to that point. So for me, always motivation is the most important thing. If the kids I really don't mind if they can't do all of the vocabulary or the conversation or I don't mind. I want them to enjoy coming. Is the most important thing to us. So, yeah. And then you, I saw you. Yeah. No, go.
So students are self-evaluating themselves.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they know like what they're supposed to reach.
Yeah.
Like in your experience, like how honest and how open are the students towards their self-evaluation?
In which part? Like in the evaluation, like with the highlighter at the event? It really becomes a rote exercise. It really becomes like, out the door. And it takes like 2 minutes, so but it's a good question. I asked those high school students that I took that were in that photo, I asked them, do you remember what you got those stamps for? And they did, for the most part. Oh yeah, like I think one of them was they didn't remember all of them, but they remembered. So I think it's back. It's just, I'll go back to that car sensor analogy again. Like you don't notice you have a lot of sensors on your car that you probably you haven't seen most of them ever. but they're there only if you need them, right? When something's not going well, that sensor comes on. And that's exactly the same situation here. Have a lot of systems in place. And then when something is going wrong, you have a way of detecting it, or you have a way of communicating that with the student or the parents. So, yeah.
The end of year meeting, the Japanese meeting in the year.
That was the autopsy thing. That's the end of the year.
Like the phone guy, or is it the end of school year?
It's the end of the school year.
Oh.
End of the school year. We take 1 week after, we finish classes. We have 1 week and we have a meeting. That first meeting, we just kind of go, okay, well, it's fresh in everybody's mind. How did you feel the year went? Yeah. I got that idea from another presentation. I think a lot of, and we just kind of adapted it to fit us. So, yeah. All right, Eric, what should I finish myself? Never mind, that didn't sound good. Should I?